Entrepreneur de la diaspora africaine, vous avez un projet d'affaires en Afrique? Imaginez pouvoir retrouver en quelques clics toutes les offres de services adaptées à vos besoins. Découvrez le Hub Meet Africa, la plateforme digitale d'orientation et d'information des entrepreneurs de la diaspora africaine. Vous recherchez des opportunités d'affaires, des programmes d'accompagnement technique ou financier, de l'information, des partenaires, des experts ou des consultants locaux? Conçu par et pour ses utilisateurs, le Hub Meet Africa met à votre disposition gratuitement une cartographie simplifiée des dispositifs d'appui, quel que soit l'état de maturité de votre projet, le secteur couvert, le pays visé et vos besoins d'accompagnement. Identifiez des partenaires et experts basés dans le pays de résidence ou d'installation de votre projet d'entreprise et obtenez des conseils sur mesure et des retours d'expérience pour le mener à bien. La recherche d'offres d'accompagnement n'a jamais été aussi simple. Les offres du Hub Meet Africa proposent des informations ciblées et pertinentes à tout entrepreneur de la diaspora désireux d'entreprendre en Afrique. Concrétisez vos projets business grâce aux outils collaboratifs et partagés. Positionnez votre projet grâce à l'outil d'aide à l'orientation. Accédez à des ressources efficaces et vérifiées pour comprendre le marché local et développer votre business. Entrez en relation avec les organismes d'appui à l'entrepreneuriat, les mentors, les experts, les investisseurs et tous les acteurs au service de l'entrepreneuriat de la diaspora en Afrique et en Europe. Interagissez avec les membres de la communauté à travers un post-it board et bien plus encore. Vous avez des idées et des rêves en Afrique? Vous souhaitez partager votre expertise et vos compétences? Rejoignez la communauté du Hub Meet Africa.
Donc, bonjour à tous et bienvenue.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here convened today for the last webinar of the Meet Africa 2 initiative on the theme Getting International through the Diaspora Network. After several webinars focused on the different countries, following the program, we're finished with this. So I would like to give you some housekeeping information before we start. So we want to have as a dynamic exchange as possible, being able to transfer information, but also to give you the floor. We have an open exchange session. After the different speeches from our panel, we have 3 panelists today. So during the intervention, please keep your mic off and raise your hand whenever you wish to take the floor. This webinar is also available in English.
You have a planet above your screen, so you can just click on.
As an information, this webinar will be broadcasted after we worked on the recording on our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find it there. This webinar, Getting International through African Diaspora, is part of the Meet Africa 2 program that we brought forward, funded by the Agence for Development and the European Union. This will come to an end, at least for Meet Africa 2 initiatives. Among these initiatives, we have created the hub, the one you have seen, you discover maybe during our introduction presentation. This is created in order for diaspora entrepreneurs that want to get together in Morocco, Ivory Coast, Mali, Tunisia, 6 countries in total. And we also take part in a forum for diaspora entrepreneur in Paris. We had more than 3,500 participants and several other initiatives to support your development and entrepreneurship development from the diaspora in Africa. I would like to thank our several panelists, those who are with us today as well. I will share my screen so you'll be able to see them. We have 3 panelists, as I said, for this webinar. Just a second. So we have, firstly, and I will leave the floor to John Arthur Manga in a second. It is a project manager in Citéslab, and he will be talking about the JMDA, so the International Days for Diaspora Entrepreneurs. He is also a federator for the Investor Club. We also have Rachid Alhiane with us, responsible for the Center Marseille Innovation, and that supported several cohorts of startups, and he will talk about the Meet Africa program, supporting regularly entrepreneurs in the creation of their project. And if he managed to join, we have Majid at Yaaza, who is Chief Offer Territorial and Promotion Offer Division. He will be talking with it will be talking to us about several activities and also about the building of a financial economical ambassador network throughout the territory. So what I'd like to propose is to start with John Arthur. If you want to take the floor, you can introduce Citéslab and you can talk about the strength of the networks, the strength the networks represent, and how these networks can be precious to and important to the entrepreneurs to foster their development in Africa. Thank you very much. Hello, Virginie. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me, for the opportunity to say something about this. So, John Arthur Manga. I am a project manager in Citéslab in Pessac and Talence near Bordeaux, sorry. And I'm also part of the Builders Club. Builders Club is a non-profit organization that has several projects. The first project is the International Day of the African Diaspora. These are forums on financial economical matters that take place in Bordeaux, in the southwest of France. And a second initiative called African Builders, which is a network that is in 6 countries: Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Algeria, and Madagascar, and DRC to finish. Today, we are talking how to foster the diaspora network in order to develop in Africa. As for the Builders Club, when we started the International Days, it was in 2013. The African diaspora was not on the agenda at the time. So we started this because we thought that we needed to give a space to African diaspora for them to exist and to meet in order to allow them to mutualize their efforts and creating points on which being able to work together, to meet, and know one another, and to develop on the African continent and develop perspective. The idea of these international days is to put together all the structure acting either on the continent in France and in Europe and foster this relationship. As partners for the last edition, we have the FDE, we had Orange. In the idea of creating this space, allowing to highlight what people are doing in the continent, creating connection. And when we talk about using, quote unquote, the diaspora's network, the International Day can allow you to be in contact with the other decision makers in the country, and stakeholders, important stakeholders. We also discuss for the African network for a number of reasons they couldn't be with us in the forum. But anyway, it's a good way to be together and to share tips, because one of the difficulties is in creating a cartography of the opportunity and stakeholder when you don't know the territory. And that's why ANIMA is also important, because it gives you an idea of everything that is available in a country you wish to invest or create an economical activity in. So we decided to treat this problem through two axes. Firstly, an annual event in which we put together all the decision makers, and so these are the International Days in Bordeaux. And the second solution is a close network of the African builders with a platform, digital platform that we created. So these is created by companies that have been audited, and so they are sure and reliable. And within this network, all the people who take part, all the entrepreneurs who take part to these can interact, can exchange, can do some networking, and can foster their activity, and in turn, the development of the African entrepreneur and enterprise network. So we needed to find reliable partner. Let me give an example. If today in Cameroon, for instance, you want to become international or expand in Burkina Faso, you need reliable people to support this development. So you have to get in connection with an ecosystem, stakeholders of digital, knowing the tips of the country and other stakeholders that might have studied abroad and then they came back to the country, so people from the diaspora. So through a structure, you can get in connection with the several ecosystems, get in contact with people, allowing you to know better, to understand better the territory. And to be honest, of course, there are some disparities in the territory, but it's difficult to be able to have an accurate reading of a territory when we are not on it. And so most of the time, you are told that you need to know the right person, allowing you to carry out administrative work and avoiding risks that would end up losing in you losing time and opportunities. So we need facilitators allowing us to create a trust relationship in order to accelerate your projects and avoid the bottlenecks or any problems. I cannot hear you, Virginie.
Donc effectivement,
Thank you very much. My mic was off. So you use the diaspora networks to create networking activities, allowing to create information, if I summarize, to create an ecosystem, to develop your network. And then I suppose also business case and experiences sharing. We met a lot of entrepreneurs with the Meet Africa initiatives who were looking for information on a given country. So despite all the platforms that are online today, all the forums and all the activities that are developed, there is an important need in terms of information, in terms of data for a company to be supported. So, as I understand that the Builders Club has this target as well. Yes, of course. Our club mission is to give elements to allow for a better knowledge of the environment and ecosystem on which our stakeholders would like to deploy by investing or creating companies. And through our activities, we are starting an assessment of the economical environment on the 6 countries we are working on in order to issue a white book that would be a guide putting together all preconization in terms of actions and things that could be implemented to allow for real development of the African continent. Because why do we have more and more initiatives today, and why is it compulsory to go through institution and to tap into the country? Because the country that we love is not well structured yet and is really complex and complicated to have quality data and to be able to study a market from the outside, from abroad. So to understand what's your target and knowing what the needs are, what is the legislation applicable. And so more and more we are in a structuring of the economy on the African continent today, but this structuring from an institutional point of view goes together where the structuring of the market in and of itself through the stakeholders that get organized and get together and federate. Because the only way is through entrepreneurs in order to solve societal problems of this continent. And thus, it is really important to be able to meet, to share good practices in order to avoid wastes of time and resources. Many times you say entrepreneurs, it's a trial by error process, but as many errors you can avoid.
Si on s'appuie sur ces structures, on peut rencontrer la bonne personne, on peut effectivement...
The better you be. If you manage to meet the right person at the right time and having the right information and the right tip at the right time can completely change the game. Entrepreneurs like to go fast, like to solve problems fast. And when you are in a moving environment where the rules of the game change rapidly depending on who's sitting in which ministry, it is important to have people who know the territory really well, that can transfer a knowledge that is really close to the reality of the environment in order to avoid any mistake. I do agree completely to what you said. Thank you very much, John Arthur. Really interesting. It is in the sense that we developed our activity in order to valorize the local support structure, offering services to help entrepreneurs who would like to develop a project in their country of origin. And it is true that in most cases, getting in contact with the local institution and organization that know the territory, know the ecosystem, gives you a real advantage because you'll be able to tap into that pool of information and experience. Thank you very much, John Arthur. I'd like to propose now to give the floor to Rachid Alhiane from Marseille Innovation. So Rachid, you could share with us the activities that you developed and also your experience on the strength and the importance of the diaspora as a network in order to develop a project in Africa. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, Virginie, for having me. My name is Rachid, Alhiane, a startup manager here for Marseille Innovation. Marseille Innovation is a network of more than 10,000 companies. We have 3 sites in Marseille, 4 sites, sorry, in Marseille, and I'm steering and managing one of the fourth site. Focus on IoT and information engineering. We support project of the African diaspora, either in Africa or in Europe, and we have a program allowing companies, startups in France that wish to internationalize towards Africa. We have a dedicated program for that. And also for people who wish to develop throughout France and in Europe, starting from Marseille. So we have 4 sites in Marseille. We host and we support innovative startups globally on several themes, on several topics. We will find a lot of startups for industry, for the healthcare, tourism, and digital. So we are a general incubator. So the companies that we support through Marseille Innovation will follow a tailor-made support program. There is a follow-up by an account manager. There is several departments, marketing, technical, IT, and others. And we also help them to find funding. We also have several partners in order to do that. And we also have programs to support these startups in terms of innovation. We have a lot of clusters and startups that come to us because they need our technical expertise. We have more than 26 years of expertise. We also carry out workshops, after works, and events throughout the year. We have also a partnership with the academic world, with engagement with several universities in order to allow our startups to tap into that pool of technical equipment and expertise, and also to benefit from the support of the students when they need to carry out assessments or market studies and so on and so forth. We have, as of right now, about 100 startups that are supported throughout the 4 sites. And we have about 92 to 100% of the startup that transform into full-fledged companies. We launched for a year ago now an innovation award for startups. We have several figures, more than 300 jobs created by our network. And this international network, as you said, we are involved into the support of the African diaspora. We started this program in 2015. We started it in collaboration with the ERP. It's a program to support project developer from 3 countries in Morocco, Maghreb. So it's throughout the years we supported about 100 startups in Morocco, in Algeria. And so for now 2 years, we are also partners in the Meet Africa program, European program, targeting diaspora projects in Europe and in Africa. Last year, for instance, we supported project brought by the Tunisian diaspora, among others. And this year, since July, we support 12 Moroccan projects from the Moroccan diaspora in Europe, and we have other projects in Morocco for the African diaspora.
Speaking about this program, our action is multifold. First of all, we worked on the sourcing activities related to the projects, so selection, pre-selection, the assessment, and then there is another supporting program with our technical partner in Morocco. So there are four startup managers, and so 2 startups and two projects. We follow up on the different actions. And we supported many projects over the last few years in African countries, but also in France. And we'll try to also benefit from our networks, because we also have a network of experts in legal issues, administration, both in African countries and in Africa. So we can support the different companies in different areas. And sometimes we work on both in both African countries and in France, because it is the same market. Another level of activities for us is the collective support. So it means that we organize webinars or workshops rather on specific issues. For example, how can I generate and create my network? And we involve our experts from Morocco who can share with others their knowledge and skills and their networks. We also organize business meetings in France and Morocco. For example, in March, we organized the first Meet Africa meeting in Casablanca. And the idea of such event is to organize an opportunity for gathering, to meet up with our project leaders. And then we also involved the Moroccan companies installed with a headquarter in the technical park. So we try to provide good opportunities to give tips, to find to help to find trade partners, a wide array of services that we offer. And as I said, the companies and startups have benefited a lot from such activities, both in France and in African countries. So we try to support companies to really get to know better what is the business context, how the business works in different countries to help them increase and broaden their network. So this is what we do as Marseille Innovation in Marseille, but not only. Yes, because we are really speaking about entrepreneurs who are really in the startup phase of their projects, because, of course, there are also entrepreneurs who already have a stable company, but they would like to start a business in their countries of origin, which is not always easy. And then I would like to underline one thing, the need to move to the other country. As you said, Rachid, it is really important to go to the country, to have a look, to really experiment what is the reality in the country, to talk to people. And this is possible thanks to different programs such as Marseille Innovation, but this is also possible as individuals, as members of a network. That is why it is really important to be informed about different events organized in the country in order to have an opportunity to find the most important information, to get in touch with other entrepreneurs and obtain more information. I've talked about the important role played by the diaspora. For example, there is a Tunisian company that wanted to go to Morocco, and they were very much helped by the network because it was an opportunity to find operational leads, to get in touch with other people. And as I said, we are also going to create links with other networks in order to help entrepreneurs to speed up in their project. Most of the entrepreneurs that we support in the framework of the Meet Africa Morocco are already in a technical park, in a techno park. We have already 4 entrepreneurs who are already present in the techno park. And Meet Africa is going to finish soon in Morocco, but I really hope that the support is going to continue in order to boost development in the best possible conditions. So we are going to keep in touch rather with the networks to support entrepreneurs to develop even further. It is true that it is really important to follow up, to continue, because without information and updates, it is not easy. We have lots of examples of entrepreneurs who have been supported a lot, and after 2-3 years, they could speak about their experience, how they were supported, the different organizations that supported them. So it is really important also to understand what were the obstacles, because some businesses don't make it in the end. They don't resist. For companies, we also help them understand how the market works. And this is my second role as a person working in the competitive intelligence field. We tap into local databases where we can get information, where we can learn good practices. So there are many tools that are accessible. So the standard business model, for example, in order to challenge also the business model. And there are also other business models that are online business plan, canvas, so canvas of business models, lots of tools and good practices that are available for entrepreneurs in order to help them to be successful. We have a lot of good feedback of companies who manage to raise funds. And we are really happy of the entrepreneurs that we supported. How many companies have you supported with companies that are already running? Well, there are quite a few. Vitalite Lab, for example, that is working in the area of cosmetics. And then there is a new age startup with a platform, and then Wanda having an e-commerce platform to support Moroccan craftsmen and to sell such products internationally abroad. In a B2B network, we also have Orthopod. They design lots of different products. So there are quite many technical companies who are in full swing. They are working very well. Thank you very much, Rachid, for your speech. Perhaps we can give the floor to Majid Yaaza from CRI Souss Massa. Could you please talk about your activities and about also the experience of diaspora networks? The floor to you. Thank you very much, Virginie. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you for this webinar. So thank you very much to the ANIMA network for giving us the opportunity for having us in this webinar and talk about diaspora. My name is Majid Yaaza. I'm manager in the division of local offer and promotion from CRI Souss Massa. I worked in the Cité de l'Innovation et au Technoparc. The idea was to develop an entrepreneurial network in the region of Souss Massa by implementing projects such as Technoparc and Cité de l'Innovation. I would like to share with you my experience as economic ambassador of the region. It is the result of a partnership involving different organizations, such as the Council of Souss Massa and then the Investment Center of the region, also with ANIMA and Enabel. That is the Belgian agency for investment. The aim, the purpose of this network of ambassadors is to find talents in the Souss Massa region and to work with the region in order to speed up to accelerate the development of the region. We have three main objectives. Firstly, we would like to make the region renowned with the support of this network of ambassadors. Secondly, we would like to find new resources and to have more resources coming to the region, Souss Massa, because it is a really nice moment. It is a good moment to speed up the development of the region. The Souss Massa region is at the center of Morocco. And that is why we would like to involve diaspora. And thirdly, the third objective is to make sure that events, businesses, and infrastructure come to Souss Massa, to the region, also thanks to the network of economic ambassadors. But what is the profile that we're looking for this platform, for this network? First of all, people coming from Souss Massa in origin, then people living in the region, or people who having developed relations and links with our region, who can play a economic, political, scientific role, or even active in the sport, in order to be available, who would like to contribute to development of the region and to make sure that the network is strengthened. Today, we have about 50 ambassadors with different profiles, and the ambition, the final goal is to have 100 ambassadors by the end of the year. What is the reason why these people join the network? Why do they do that? After the meetings that we had with the different ambassadors, I can say that the objective is to work with the Souss Massa organizations for the promotion. The second motivation is to benefit from our network, to take benefit from our network, and to have a high level, to do high level networking as economic ambassadors. Ambassadors are everywhere in the world, in Europe, Africa, Asia. So they are really everywhere in most of the continents. And finally, another aim is to be up to date with what is happening in the region, namely investment opportunities available in the region. And there are different opportunities for the network that are offered also thanks to the CRI, Souss Massa. And as actors of the region, we have expectations from this network of economic ambassadors. The ambassadors should work as influencers to promote the region internationally. And secondly, we also expect them to have the capacity to drain investment, to have investment, because we think that the ambassadors have a really important role to play in the Souss Massa region, thanks to their involvement in the implementation of regional strategies, and also thanks to their contribution to the implementation of structural projects such as the Regional Development Plan, the Urban plan and other strategies aiming to the strengthening of the diaspora network and also to attract investment. But in practice, how does it work? As I said, we have started this project thanks to the support of ANIMA and also thanks to the financial contribution of the Belgian partner. A lot of work has been done before the identification of ambassadors. There were many meetings for the implementation, lots of negotiations. And this led to the creation of a cluster, Souss Massa promotion. This cluster has been created in order to manage the network, the ambassadors network. And you can find in the cluster all the important actors of the region who wanted to create this cluster and to make sure that it is stable, that it remains, that keeps working over time. And there is also a lot of work to have financial contribution to feed the network and to organize webinars or business trips that we organize with the network. And tools are also created to help ambassadors play their role, namely the organization of a capture promotion for the Souss Massa, and they also help in the creation of pitches to promote the region and to share it among and with the other ambassadors in order to make sure that they can really play their role as ambassadors. Souss Massa promotion cluster also has an action plan There is a project for the implementation of a promotion platform for the promotion of the Souss Massa region, and the ambassadors have an opportunity to do networking, to discuss every day, to share their experience. And there is also a meeting organized every year with the involvement of such ambassadors. It will take place in the end of the year in Tarazout. There is also a supporting program called Abrid that was launched recently, and the purpose of this program is to make sure that the different programs of the region are put together, as it were, in order to make sure that people who would like to be involved in the program can really be involved. There is also a program for the involvement and support of the members of the network. We are working on a guide, a handbook to make sure that people can have information about how to find a house, for example, administration. They can be supported also about legal issues. And so it is going to be a handbook, a really practical handbook that can help entrepreneurs to do everything they need to do in the Souss Massa region. After the creation, the setting up of the network last year, we implemented many projects The network is organized by committees. Different committees have been set up within the network. For example, there is the Human Capital Committee, and there are different people in charge of the different committees, and in each committee, different projects have been implemented. You mean thematic committees? And this was decided with the members of the network, right? Yes, exactly. Thematic committees with the members of the network. For example, there is one for the development of a technological pole, because we would really like to work on this project. There is also a project for the creation of consulting firm with the involvement of one of the members of the network. Today, this project has created 15 positions. So 15 people have found a job thanks to this project. Different events are organized in different areas, in different fields. For example, digital nomadic, smart cities. Then other events about technological education. This committee has different, is working on different projects. And some of such projects are already operational. There is also a committee to develop the links between Israel and the Souss Massa region. There are different projects who have been implemented by this committee in the field of fishing and also water desalinization. So as I said, very many committees. Rachid already talked about the link. Marseille Innovation and CRI Souss Massa, and namely the Technopole. So the winners of the Meet Africa program have been trained thanks to this program in order to make sure that their projects are implemented. Then, as I said, the most important thing is that we are in the startup period, and in the short term, we are going to capitalize on what we have already done and also start new projects and actions for the development of the network. Thank you very much. Thank you, because what you said shows that there is quite a lot of opening of the diaspora. Diaspora is made of regions who would like to start a business in their countries of origin, but not only. Perhaps there are also investors, people who have resources who would like to contribute to development of infrastructure, or perhaps they would like to offer their know-how, which is really interesting. So I think that we can expect a lot from this network of ambassadors. Right now, there are 57. Rachid and John Arthur, would you like to add anything at all? In the diaspora of entrepreneurs, have you found talents who would like to offer their know-how and for their project? And then we'll give the floor to participants. So after the startup, my question is, some of them perhaps became mentors or wanted to share their experience. Well, I can speak about people, those that we call repat, so from expat to repat, who were in North America and came back to Cameroon. There is an action that we call Bâtisseurs Ensemble, and there are different members of the communities from different countries. The idea is to make sure that these entrepreneurs who are in the startup phase, so to make sure that they can benefit from the experience from those who have a bit more experience. And even if we haven't made this procedure standard, I mean, it is not an institutional process, we can see this approach. There is this dynamic. And entrepreneurs who are in the startup phase can be a bit faster in their projects in an environment, in a context demanding more and more flexibility and a lot of knowledge, a really deep knowledge of the context. So there are such people. And I would say that in a really natural way, spontaneously, they became mentors and they were really helpful for new entrepreneurs who were really bold in their approach. And so more experienced entrepreneurs were really happy to help younger entrepreneurs, or rather less experienced entrepreneurs. Thank you very much. Rachid, do you have anything to add? Yes, I confirm that more experienced entrepreneurs are happy to help younger. This is what we saw in Marseille. Many of them became mentors. This is something that we implemented in all our diaspora-related projects, and we regularly go back to our former trainees, as it were, to help younger entrepreneurs to share with others the problems that they had to overcome, to give tips. I think it is quite spontaneous. It comes naturally. And our role is to orient younger entrepreneurs and to create links between older businessmen and others.
This follow-up is really important, but is not as automatic as you make it appear to be, because it is a real return on experience and brings a lot of sharing on the good practices, on difficulties met, transfer a lot of information, and is a good reflex to have. Thank you very much, Rachid. Do we have any questions coming from our participants to the different panelists or all of them? It doesn't look like it. It is true. Do not hesitate to take the floor and ask our panelists. There is a question from Amid. Amid, are you with us? Maybe you could take the floor directly. Are you with us, Amid?
Virginie, peut-être il y a une question de Nisria Alhiane.
I also see a question of Nisria. How can you help entrepreneurs to deploy in sub-Saharan countries? Okay, so Hamid is not with us apparently, but I invite everybody to take the floor directly if you so wish, but thank you very much, Majid. So how can we help entrepreneurs to deploy in sub-Saharan countries? Maybe John Arthur, we can give you the floor, or... Thank you very much for the question. So concretely, we are not in all sub-Saharan Africa. We are in Cameroon, DRC, Ivory Coast. This is for the biggest cohorts, but then we have entrepreneurs, but we are talking about 4 or 5 people in Mali, Benin. So in these environments, concretely, get in contact with the African Builders Club, you'll be put in contact with the stakeholders. I see that you say, Nesria, that you'd be interested in knowing about Ivory Coast. Of course, you can contact the African Building Club and also the institution like the Chamber of Commerce, and we will propose really highly experienced stakeholders to interact with you. That is a starting point, and then you will facilitate your access on the territory and help as much as possible through the skill and capacities of our network to get in contact directly.
Il existe 7 personnes entre les différentes personnes sur Terre. Donc, si on a le bon interlocuteur.
I think it's somebody on Facebook saying that there are several stakeholders on Earth, and we are never far away from the key person that we need for the development. So I believe in that, and this is what I can answer from an operational standpoint. So contact our club and the institution on site. If I can add something to that. The strength of programs such as Meet Africa is that they have a really strong network deployed directly in different territories. For instance, we also have entrepreneurs that wish to develop on those countries.
Aussi pour nos entrepreneurs pour se développer dans les pays subsahariens, pour trouver des opportunités au-delà de leur pays d'implantation.
And beyond your country of the country you're operating in, the key is to use the network in order to find. And I'd like to remind you that within the Meet Africa project, there are some support activity and structure through the diaspora. Namely, you will be able there to find all the structures and institutional that will be able to give you the information. Do not hesitate to contact and to get in contact with us and to show up on the Meet Africa platform. I am putting the link in the chat. Yes, that is really a strong network that can foster your development in several territories?
Merci beaucoup. Alors, il y avait effectivement également une question sur l'importance de choisir. Enfin, je reviens à Hamid, je vais bien sûr vous
I go
répondre.
back to Hamid. He said that he cannot use a mic.
C'est sûr que quand on entreprend, il est bien évident qu'on va entreprendre dans un pays dans lequel il y a de la stabilité.
Of course, when you want to create a project, it is important that the country that you develop your project in is stable. Talking about a government
business, donc ça c'est le B.A.-ba. Après, vous évoquiez l'importance de s'éloigner du lobbyisme. Alors, je ne cache pas que voilà, nous on est vraiment sur.
Well, of course, lobbying is important, but in ANIMA we are a neutral association. We want to foster a sustainable development, as everybody here with. We want to ensure a long-lasting and sustainable development. So I hope that replies to your question.
Est-ce que d'autres entrepreneurs auraient effectivement des interrogations?
Are there any entrepreneurs or participants that wish to ask some questions or share information, or other networks that you know about that could be interesting to add to this testimony or on the list of the institutions and networks we talked about? It doesn't seem so. Okay. There's Awa Kuma raised his or her hand. Yeah, I give you the floor. Yeah. Yes, hello, thank you very much. My name is Awa Kuma. I come from Senegal. I manage the incubator for the French Institute in Dakar. Thank you very much for all your intervention, everything you said. It was really rich in terms of content. My question is, I support entrepreneurs that are in the ICC. These are creative institutions, and internationalizing these demands for particular tactics and a network. So my question is how to support them if they wish to export, because some of them are working in crafts, some other in development of content. So it is a problem it is not a problem in Senegal because they are really well known. It works quite well for them, but to gain an international public and over to work can be more difficult. Thank you very much for this interesting question. So who wishes to reply? Rachid, John Arthur? I'd like to propose a reply. Thank you very much, Awan. Thank you very much for your hello, Awan. Thank you very much for your question. The ICC, one of the difficulties of the ICC for me is that for the moment in certain of our countries, these are not supported enough by the administration. And that is why I don't know what's the case in Senegal. I'm talking a little bit more globally. And so it is difficult for certain artists to develop an economy and an international economy at that, especially on West Africa. So in Senegal, there is a cultural pole, which is quite important, which is Nigeria is the second producer in terms of movies with Hollywood and Bollywood. Following the development of the Afrobeat, this allowed them to spread, quote unquote, the African culture or the African cultures in the world. my idea would to find an environment, a country where there is an important cultural policy and policy are implemented in order to be able to industrialize everything the ICC doesn't represent. If as a first move, you could find a country that supports of this, this would be the first step. The second step would be using the different hubs. If the country you have identified is part of one of these hubs, you'd be able through the hub to create a cartography of the opportunities and the activities in the country, and then through the strength of the internet, you know, thinking local and acting global, you could harness the strength of the digital and the social networks to hope, because I think this is the general difficulty for entrepreneurship and especially for the ICC, is to hope that the art developed could resonate with a certain culture, a certain country, and create an interest. So, as I said, to summarize, to identify a country where all of these aspects are taken into account, they are fostered, and then tap into the hub, and then create strong brand identity and an important community on the internet and social network that will make it a lot easier for these entrepreneurs or artists to be able to emerge. In Senegal, we have a community called Samsung of an artist called Samsung Gawi, is a plastician, and he managed through one of our programs of the African builders to develop. He is now in Paris as in a gallery in Paris, France, and Belgium. And then the rest of his promotion is done through the internet. Africa has the chance through the internet to give a better image of the African continent, and that also fosters everything that is art. And so if I would give you an advice, is to invest on the internet, because there are people who have an interest, they have the means to consume, to acquire art, and one of the other strong point is art is generally not taxed. So yes, I would like to react in respect to Awa's question. Thank you very much for your question, Awa. So through the points that are really important, I do agree with Arthur in the first point. So you will have to identify a destination where there is a real strategic, politics strategy about art and artists. Then the second point is the development of a content which is adequate to the country and the region. This is really important. I think that each country has its peculiarities, its cultural differences, and you will have to pay attention to that. The third point, which is also really important in order to have success in this international development, is the fact is using hubs or incubators focus on a creative production. For instance, in Morocco, we have the YEPA Association. I'll leave you the link in the chat if you wish to see what they do in terms of working on this. Lately, they have launched a program that is called Walaka Wallis, allowing for all the creatives and people who have a project in culture to get information and help. It is really important to have this reflex and to identify incubators that can accelerate your development in other countries. Thank you very much. Just to complete a little bit what my colleagues said, l'ICC is an really important part in the CID region. If there are projects or project developer that would like to develop starting from Marseille, I could tell you that there will be a tender that will be issued by the end of the year for a program allowing to startups who wish to become international to take advantage of a support, tailor-made support that is developed. And this program will allow African companies that want to become international to benefit from a 12-month support in order to deploy in a given region. This is a project that is piloted by the Marseille region, and it will be issued by the end of the year, as I said. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this really concrete and pertinent information sharing that will certainly interest all the entrepreneur here with. Where can we get information about this program, Rachid? This will be, as I said, will be issued shortly by the city of Marseille, so you will receive all the information you need. Is pending finalization. Okay. I hope we have replied to your questions, Awa, Christian, and everybody. She wrote in the chat she cannot activate her mic, apparently, but she is happy with the reply. Well, thank you. At this point, I would like to thank you all very much for all of these information and this rich conversation. We get to the end of the different Meet Africa webinars. We will have other activities in the future, of course. I can tell you that in ANIMA, we are thinking about the future of the hub, the platform, the cooperation platform that many of you know. We worked on this for 2 years in a construction with the several stakeholders, expertise fronts, among the others, in order to create this platform. We will, of course, inform you and continue to give visibility to the different opportunities available in the countries. And I would like, at this point, to thank you very much, Majid, Rachid, Arthur, for your intervention, for what you said. Really interesting on the theme today that closes our series of webinars for Meet Africa. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and really happy to meet Rajin Majid, and I hope we'll have other occasions to meet and to collaborate. Thank you very much to all of you, from myself as well. Thank you, Virginie. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Rachid. It was a pleasure to see you again. And thank you very much for all the participants, and see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.